A pre-qualification is a verbal conversation on the phone with a lender or in person, but it's verbal, or it's a minimal amount of paperwork, but when you go to a full pre-approval, someone has actually reviewed your file and said to you, well, you said you made $100,000 last year, and on paper it only says you made 80. How did that happen? That's what a pre-approval does. It's a formal process with a formal commitment saying the lender has reviewed all your documents, and here is what you truly qualify for. And that's more powerful when you go to make an offer. If you have a pre-qualification letter, it just means you've had a verbal conversation with a lender. If you actually go to the process of being pre-approved, it's going to get you to the finish line faster. Number one, you'll be more attractive to a seller. So especially in a multiple offer situation or in any kind of offer situation, the seller wants someone who's going to the finish line. They come to the table pre-approved, much better than just pre-qualified. That's number one. Number two, a pre-approval means that you've done a lot of the pre-work. You can glide to the closing table faster. It's less stressful because you've done it up front. And it gives everyone a peace of mind that you're able to go through these timelines safely. Okay, we're going to talk about those timelines, but that's incredible, right? What an opportunity to have that. Again, we talked about the different mortgage options. Do you want to end your mortgage faster? Do you want to spread it out over 30 years? Do you have more cash to put down or less cash to put down? All of these things are things you're going to talk about with your lender. Once you and your lender have figured it out, once you're pre-approved, they're going to give us a letter as real estate agents. We're going to have this letter that says, Melissa is qualified to purchase at this amount, at this rate, in this way, in this loan. That is the tool that we will use to make offers. We will plug those numbers into what the offer terms are. We have to disclose. Here are the offer terms we've been qualified for. Let's say your terms change. We have to redisclose. By the way, we're now putting down 10% instead of 20%. That changes the dynamic, not in a good way. But if you're putting down more than you initially said, that changes the dynamic again in a good way. All right. So now you come to the table and you say, I am qualified to buy a $100,000 home. I'm putting 10% down. This is the example we have. And now you're going to sit with us and determine your criteria. Let's talk about criteria. This is what we call a buyer consultation, and it's really important that you have this with a certified professional so that they understand exactly what's going on in the landscape. The first question they're going to ask you is, have you been pre-qualified? You've determined that you have, so you're looking at homes that you want to purchase that are going to be under $100,000 or less. So your agent might set your criteria up to maybe, let's say, $125,000, depending on your market. If there's leeway to make an offer under list price, they might do that search. If there is no leeway, they might cap it at 100. Depends on the market. There are some markets where people will list a home for 100,000 and then it will sell for 150. So in your case, you want to stay under where you want to be with some negotiation room if it's possible in your market. Okay, so that's criteria one is price. Where do you want to set your price? The second criteria, and this is a long conversation, it's location. Some people will base their location on true location, GPS. I would like to be in the center of Duluth. I would like to have walking distance from Roswell. Location is something. Location GPS based on a map is different than location based on neighborhood or school district. So somebody might say, I absolutely want to be in this neighborhood, it's called Brookhaven Gardens. Someone else might come and say, I want to be in Ashford Park School District. Okay, so there's all different standards of what you think your location might be. Someone might say, I want to be in a 5-mile radius of my office. Okay, someone else might come back and say, I want to be close to the airport. I want to jump on a highway. So location is very important, but determine what it is. I've had people tell me I'd like to be in a 7 to 10 level school anywhere in Atlanta. That's a long journey. That's a long journey, and I'm in the middle of it right now. Okay, so understand that's one of the questions that they're going to ask you. Any questions on that? Okay. Size. Now, there are parameters of style that we Mediterranean home, or a traditional home, or a ranch home, or a two-story, or those are things we can search on features and styles. Features are things like two-car garage, basement, no basement, size. We try not to search in Georgia on square footage because square footage is not necessarily correct. And it's sometimes a 0 in the listing. So if we search on square footage, you will often miss homes that actually fit your criteria, but the agent didn't take the time to put in the square footage. Or it's undetermined. So we don't search by square footage in Georgia. We search criteria by bedrooms and baths. I would like to have a minimum of 3 bedrooms, so we do 3+, and I would like to have a minimum of 2 bathrooms, so we do 2+. So in your price point, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath minimum format under $100,000 in this location. That's a search criteria. What we cannot search on are things like open floor plan. That might be in the descriptions, but we have no way to search on those terms in Georgia. Or fence, no fence. Flat backyard, not flat backyard. Flat driveway, not flat driveway. We do have a key for level driveway, but it's very subjective because you could have a long driveway and then it becomes flat on top and the agent thinks that's a flat driveway or a level driveway, okay? So understand that these criteria, the features sometimes aren't 100% correct, and there are features on which we cannot search. Fence, no fence, open floor plans. We can't search on the level of newness on a stainless steel appliance or any kind of appliance. These are things we get asked all the time. So these are the things we can search on, okay? That's what's going to happen in your consultation. You're also going to talk about a timeline. I have all the time in the world. That's not our favorite client. Our favorite client is, I need to be in the house in the next 30 days. Great! So, joking aside, when you have a timeline, it actually makes you more purposeful. If you don't have a timeline, it starts to become, what is important for you? What are the priorities? What's happening here? What is your impetus? Just like anything else in life, if you don't have enough of a push, you may not get to the finish line. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, so ask me anything.
Well, it's all, based on specific criteria that I'm looking for specifically.
Okay.
Just wondering, everything that you've said so far, how, like, I know a couple of neighborhoods that I would like to live in, but I'm looking for a condo.
Okay.
Because right now, for myself, I don't need a single family home. The size would be too big for me. Close couldn't afford it. But I'm wondering, based on everything that you've said, I don't know what I qualify for as far as how much house I can afford. But I'm wondering if I can find something like that, including everything, the PITI, am I gonna be able to afford that on the rent that I'm paying now?
Well, that's a great question, and you'll sit down with your lender and you'll talk about it, and it's a very specific case. I would like to caution you to be careful between a house and a condo, and you saying that I can't afford a house and I'm more likely to afford a condo or it's the right size for me. Think long term. Long term, a house is much easier to rent. Long term, a house has no HOA fees. So you may be at the equivalent price.
Well, the only reason I say that is because, like I said, I don't need that much space. I don't want to have to deal with the yard work.
Right.
I don't need, 3 or 4 bedroom house. 2 bedroom, 2 bath would be perfect. I just don't feel like that I would need a single family home my needs.
Okay. I think.
But I get what you're saying.
You just sit down with the lender and start with where I'm at and incorporate, this is the limit of what I'm able to pay in HOA fees. You may find that a duplex might be best for you,
That's what I was thinking.
where you're owning the whole thing and you're on one side and it's one room or two rooms, and someone else is on the other side in one room or two rooms, but they rent from you and they cover a portion of your payment, so then your payment can actually be higher than you think it can. But now you've got a home that was split into two,